into the latest episode of our Cubs REKAP Podcast, the presentation of our REKAP YouTube channel, and available audio only everywhere you get your favorite podcasts. I'm David Kaplan. My partner is that guy right there, Gordon Wittenmeyer, fresh off the plane from Arizona. He's been at spring training, and we have a lot to discuss.
Yeah, I got phone to pick with you, man.
Oh,
You told me to come into the studio for the podcast this week. You didn't tell me it was going to be 30-something degrees and snow on the ground. I gave up the sunshine.
I'm in shorts.
Well, that's your problem, man. You got some issues already anyway.
And we did. So you have been out there. I have been monitoring things here from the studio, but I make my calls. I watch my games. I like my baseball team. In fact, I've got them prognosticated for 91 victories this year. You've seen them. Your thoughts?
You're out of your freaking mind, dude. Look,
Hold on a minute.
where are you
We have
getting the
the
wins?
best team.
Where are you getting the wins? Have you looked at the National League?
Yeah.
Where are you getting the wins? This team won 83 games. You're talking about 8 more wins. I get it. Kyle Tucker, props to them.
Better bullpen. Kyle
It is a
Tucker,
better bullpen.
and you have the best defensive outfield in all of baseball. There's nobody even close.
Dude, you got a National League that hasn't been this strong since I don't even know when. I don't think I've ever seen it this strong as long as I've been covering baseball. You might have to go back to when they were beating the crap out of the AL every year over and over again in all those all-star games to find a National League this strong. The National League last year was so strong, they had 7 teams win 89 games, and one of them didn't make the playoffs, obviously, with a tiebreaker. That was the Arizona Diamondbacks. What did the Diamondbacks do? They went out and got Corbin Burns and Josh Naylor. They're going to be way better. And what did the Diamondbacks do the year before? They got in as a wild card and got to the World Series. That's going to be one hell of a team this year. And that's the team that missed it last year. Soto's over in that league now from the other league. Last year, the National League had a 530-something winning percentage. I figured it out. It was the equivalent winning percentage of an 87-win season. That's the National League against the American League last year in interleague play. And they're better this year, especially out on the coasts. Every time you go, there's 4 teams in the West that got a lot better, even the Dodgers. And they've got a reason to think that they might be able to win a pennant. The out East, Acuna is back. Strider's back for the Braves. They're the favorites out there. And the Phillies are still there and strong. And the Mets, all they did was just spend a ton more money. So, dude, you go out to the coast. Where are you getting your wins? The Reds are better. The Brewers aren't going away. It's going to be tough sailing. This is the way I see it. There's going to be one playoff team come out of the Central. And whichever team that is, it's going to be right around 86 wins.
Well, I look at the Cubs team, and I think they're vastly improved. Vastly. Their bullpen is much better. Their defense with PCA in center field from day one and Kyle Tucker in right field is better. I like the Matt Shaw opportunity at third. I look at my team, and I believe this is a 90-plus win team.
I like that they catch the ball. They catch the ball in a lot of places. I still think the Brewers catch the ball better. That said, and if we're talking about teams that have a chance in the Central, the Cubs are way better at catching the ball than the Reds. So you got that advantage. You look at the rotation. What's funny is you look at the NL Central, and you got frontline guys like the Reds have Hunter Green right up front. A left-hander, Lodolo, Nick Lodolo might even be better than him when he's healthy, and he showed it last year. The Cubs have Imanaga and Steele right up front. They can win playoff games. You know who else is? The freaking Pirates have Paul Skeens and that other young kid. These guys, if they were ever to get there, they're not going to get to the playoffs. But they could win. They could match up with somebody. So even when you get down to the lower part, Sonny Gray is still in St. Louis. You're going to have to face him in this division, and they'll probably finish last place. I think wins are going to be tough to come by, man. And so I like that they catch the ball. That's a great place to start because that doesn't slump. Kyle Tucker's going to bring a lot to that lineup. He's an upgrade over Bellinger. That's going to be a big deal. You don't know what you're going to get out of third base. You're hoping that Pete Crow Armstrong builds off of his finish last year. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't. And he's looked good this spring, but he's still got something to prove. I mean, there's some ifs there, man, and start declaring 90-something wins.
I'm not saying they're going to win 98, but I do think it's a 90-win team. I think when Craig Counsell spoke from the heart last September and said, we got to start thinking about building 90-win teams and go from there. That's how you get in the dance. And then you roll the dice and see what happens there.
Well, had they gotten Bregman, I'd be on board with you. And I think that they definitely improved. And I think they'll be better than they were.
Bullpen's going to be a lot better.
Here's the thing. They could be better than they were last year in all phases and not win as many more games as you might predict just because the league is so much better this year.
Ronald Acuna Jr., he won't play till mid to late May for the Braves. Spencer Strider, Sean Murphy, he suffered a cracked rib. He will miss 4 to 6 weeks, return mid to late April.
These guys got to playoffs without those guys.
You had Austin Riley. He is a guy he looks like he's going to be ready to go. He broke his hand last year, if you remember. So they've had more than their share of injuries, Atlanta. That division is a beast.
It is. With
Philly and the Mets and the Braves. Really, really good division. The Cubs division.
Hey, by the way, don't count out the Nationals. The Nationals have some really good young players.
They're
going to beat some teams that don't see them coming.
But the issue in the National League Central breaks my heart that the Cardinals literally did nothing.
Oh, yeah. They did.
Literally.
They did less than nothing. They lost guys. They got rid of guys.
They did not make any significant signing of any kind.
They made no free agent signing. I don't know that they added any. Did they add anybody?
Nobody.
They didn't add a big leaguer in a trade.
And they're still trying to get rid of Nolan Arenado. He's there. Their GM said, awkward when he came to camp because they were trying to trade him. They had a deal worked out to send him to Houston, and he said, no, thank you.
Yeah. There's wins to be had there.
There is.
No doubt. And you would think Pittsburgh, but young teams, young talent has a way of kind of like, they'll have somebody's number. You just kind of hope it's not yours, right?
Correct.
And so you've got that, and you hope you don't see Skeens every single time you play.
Now, I also believe, and do I wish the Cubs had gone out and gotten a number one starter to front the rotation, whether that was Dylan Cease or whoever, he didn't get moved. To have somebody with Imanaga and Steele, sure, that would have been great. They did not do that, but they do have money to spend. They offered a significant contract, didn't get him to Alex Bregman.
And Tanner
Scott. And so if you get to mid-July and you're like, well, Cubs are 2-3 games up in the division, there's no reason management doesn't go out and spend. Because they've already shown you by making the offers they did that they have the payroll flexibility. Like if you tell me, we'd like to wait and keep our powder dry is the term they like to use and wait to see where we're at in July. Okay, guess what? If you get to July and you're right there, there is no reason, if you truly care about winning. Tom Ricketts sat in this very chair and he told us, I asked him the question, I said, Tom, if you got to July and Jed said, hey, there's a big player out there, contract, we can get him, we can afford him in prospect capital, you got a green light to spend, but the Cubs are in first place. I can't guarantee you the World Series. I can guarantee you that guy gives us a shot. He said, I would do it.
Yeah.
We'll see.
You know when we'll find out?
When that moment comes.
We're going to find out. I'm looking at it right now. April 24th. It says right here. That's when we're going to find out.
What does that mean?
It's because I'm looking at the schedule. You want to know? You want to know what's going to be the biggest indicator of where this team goes and whether your 91 wins is on the table or not? What is this? 12, 20, I don't know how many games that is. 20, 25, 26 games. We agree, right, that this Japanese series is great. It's great for
Super
baseball.
cool.
It's awesome. I mean, Imanaga is going to he's going to be entertaining. He's going to be reason to get up in the middle of the night and watch these games.
Yes.
And we see Yamamoto is going to pitch, Sasaki's going to pitch, Otani is going to. It's going to be entertainment off the chart.
Yeah, it's super cool.
There's one principle in this whole thing that's probably not grateful, and that's the Chicago Cubs competitively. Now, will it ultimately be a cost, enough of a burden that it's a massive negative? Maybe, maybe not. But it is at least some adversity that they're going to have to face early on. Look, you're going to play on a different day than your body clock says. The Dodgers. I don't worry about the Dodgers. Dodgers have. I mean, they literally have like 2 rotations deep on their team. They're going to be fine no matter what. They just throw bodies at stuff. What we probably believe, right, is that the Cubs, they might not have quite the depth that some of the other contenders, at least. We talked about the rotation. We can talk about the depth there. But anyway, you're going to start against the juggernaut team in baseball in Japan for 2 games. Next week, and, Nico, we already know Nico Horner's not going to be there. Okay, you can probably cover for that big deal. He'll be ready for the domestic opener.
Probably John Birdie playing second.
Okay.
Guy you got from the Marlins.
So it's going to be up to your pitching. Your pitching does the job. Maybe you'd be competitive. Then you come back. Then you sort of regroup, retool.
Go back to spring training.
Go back to spring training, which is going to be weird to everybody. You've just amped up. Now you're going to ramp down. Mm-hmm. Then you open on the road. The first guy you're going to see when that domestic opener is lifted, the curtain lifted, is Corbin Burns, the guy that just came over, the guy that won a Cy Young with Milwaukee a few years ago. And I know Cubs have done all right against him. You got a 4-game series out of the chute against a team that is fresh, ready to go at home, the Diamondbacks, and they think they've got something to play for. Then you go to Sacramento, not to Oakland. You play a better Oakland team and a better A's team, but you play in Sacramento, some rinky-dink crap ballpark. I've talked to people that kind of have a sense of what's coming. There's a lot of people looking at that team and where they're going to play and the conditions surrounding that and thinking they're going to have a pretty good season this year because they're going to do really well at home, they think, because they're going to be the one team that figures out playing at this crap ballpark all season. And everybody that comes in is going to be at a disadvantage.
So immediately you want me to be worried about the freaking Sacramento A's.
No. I'm not done. Then you go home. You don't open the season until what is it? 9 games in, and spring training in between some of those regular season games. Now you finally get to your home opener, and you got the Padres. Then you got Texas, which is still really good. Then you go on the road to the Dodgers and the Padres. And then you come back home to the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers and the Phillies. Now it's April 28th.
Why don't we just cancel the season then?
I'm just saying you don't have a break anywhere. So you need to be healthy out of the chute. You need to be ready out of the chute. You need to figure out the Japan thing. There's a lot of things.
They're all hard, man.
This is different than most seasons. And what do we know about this season for the Cubs going in? There's a lot at stake here. There's a lot at stake for the whole group of people running the organization. And so that's why they went on Got Tucker and all that. But this is what former Cubs manager used to call nut cutting time, man. This is like, a month. You got a month. You're going to know this team really quick what it's made of and whether you got 91 wins in you.
You can look on any one of your little websites over there.
Oh, I got all kinds of
go
websites.
To.
I can't show you all of them. I got all kinds of websites.
Like if you go to, let's call it June 15 of 2015, what was the Cubs record? June 15, 2015.
They were probably right around 500. If I remember that season right, they were hanging around 500 until Hamill got pulled in the 4th or 5th inning against maybe the Giants, and Joe Madden signaled that now he's in playoff mode, and they wound up finishing really strong.
With 97 wins.
That might have even been that date.
Yeah.
Let me check my magic computer 8-ball here.
Yeah, 97 wins. So look, they're all tough. Every day you can lose to a pitcher that pitches out as you know what every day.
Hey, by the way,
But guess what? My team's pretty freaking good too.
One thing that was going on in 2015 and 2016 was that half the National League was tanking. And I remember going in. Yes, I remember going in, 40% of them, 40 to 50% of them, because I went into that 2016 season listing it. And that was a story that the path to the World Series was wide open for them. They had the team to do it, and they had enough teams that were just bailing on the season that they didn't have to be. They were going to have soft spots everywhere on the schedule. I don't see that this year. You might do it. You might do it, Cap. And to their credit, with the what did Jed call it? The constraints that they dealt with this year. Mm-hmm. To his credit, I think he did what he could with that. I do think they upgraded their bullpen quite a bit. I like what Presley seems to be bringing to camp so far. I like what that signals. And Tucker, I mean, I don't know that you could have gone out and traded. I don't think there was a trade out there to make that was a more impact trade for them than Tucker.
Here's what Jim Bowden wrote in The Athletic.
Oh, Jesus.
My God. JB. I love Jim Bowden.
Yeah.
The NL Central. He has the Cubs finishing in first. He gave them a grade of A- in the offseason moves. 14 moves by Jed Hoyer.
Oh, wow. They won the offseason? Why don't you ask your boys over at the White Sox what that's like and what that gets you?
When did they win the offseason?
They've won the offseason league twice in about the last 10 or 15 years.
Oh, my God.
And you know it.
You got – here's what he wrote about all these teams.
How many World Series did they win in that span?
Who?
0.
The Cubby?
No, the White Sox when they won the offseason.
I don't remember that winning the offseason.
2014.
2014, I'm hearing. 2014.
Best move. Trading for Kyle Tucker gives the Cubs the superstar position player they've been missing and a hitter who can carry the team when the rest of the lineup is slumping. He is a 30-homer, 30 stolen base talent, a true 5-tool player. Under the radar move is the Ryan Presley trade. The 36-year-old righty gives them a much-needed impact closer who brings quiet leadership and mental toughness to their bullpen. He says, season prediction, first place, storyline to watch, the development of a trio of young players at the bottom of the lineup. Pete Crow Armstrong, who's a stud, catcher Miguel Amaya.
He says that?
And third baseman Matt Shaw, who should be in contention for NL Rookie of the Year, thanks to his short, quick stroke, surprising power, and ability to create backspin. If those three deliver, the Cubs will participate in October baseball.
Okay.
Take that, Gordon. Here we go.
What's the date today, Kat?
It's March 6th.
Yeah, you take that. Because that doesn't mean shit. Winning the offseason don't mean shit. We know that. History tells us that. But nothing he said there was anything different than what I said. I'm just saying it's going to be.
He says it in a much kinder way. The Cubs are, I believe, again, health plays such a vital role.
In a competitive league, it's all about what you are relative to your competitors. Mm-hmm. It always is. Your competitors all got better.
Just remember 91 wins.
Even in the division where the Cardinals basically surrendered and the Brewers cut costs to the degree that they lost lights out closer Devin Williams and the all-star shortstop who got $182 million from the Giants. So they're out, fine. They might still be there because they lost big guys the year before and still won 93, 94 games last year. But the Reds were not expected to play as poorly as they did last year, and they did. They fired their manager. They got Terry Francona. I've talked to evaluators every bit as good at their jobs as your boy Jim is at his, who say the Reds are their favorites to win. One guy told me he thinks Terry Francona is going to have that much of a difference to make just because they have enough talent.
It's the same guys who were last year writing, Craig Counsell will be the difference. He wasn't. They didn't have enough talent last year.
There's somebody, I can't say who it was, but there's somebody in the.
Why can't you say?
Because it was off the But there was a member of the Reds organization that said, they got the most expensive manager. We got the Hall of Fame manager. That's the way that some people over there look at it. And, they're not wrong. I mean, I lost count. How many World Series has Counsell won as manager?
You know what? How many had Joe Madden won until he got here?
He'd been to one. So, I mean, what are we talking about here? If you're talking about impact managers, there's probably 3 or 4 in the game that we could say that guy's track record at multiple places says he will make a difference just by walking in the door with the same team. And Francona is one of them. Bochy was one of them. Dusty Baker was one of them. And he's obviously gone. And I know there's one I'm forgetting. But anyway, Francona is definitely one of, you can count him on one hand, in the last maybe 10 years. And so we'll see what that means. We don't know. I can tell you there's a difference in that camp, and with some of the people that he brought in for his staff, he doesn't have, one of the things he relied upon to win was he had certain guys in the clubhouse that he expected to police things his way. He doesn't necessarily, he doesn't know whether he's got that yet, but he's got Mike Napoli, who you know well, over there on his staff. He calls him his Swiss Army knife coach, because he didn't have a title. I call him his ass kicking coach, because that's what his job's going to be, is to be the bad cop. And he's a tough guy, tone setter guy. I think he's going to do that. I think they got Brad Mills is back, who's maybe not the greatest manager in the world when he's a manager, but he's a hell of a bench coach, and he's Francona's longtime right-hand man. So they've got a good thing going over there. Plus, they made some additions. Their starting rotation, I believe, is deeper than the Cubs. The frontline guys you can argue about all day long. When you start getting down to 5, 6, even 7, I like what the Reds have.
Yeah, I have the Reds finishing 2nd, Milwaukee finishing 3rd, the Pirates 4th, and the Cardinals 5th. And in a couple of weeks, we'll do our season prognostications. But as they go off to Japan, Michael Busch has had a good spring. John Birdie will be your second baseman in Tokyo because Nico Horner's still recovering from his offseason surgery. Dansby Swanson seems to be in a much better place.
By the way, there's a ton of guys that are swinging the bat.
Yeah.
For whatever that's worth, right? Which is basically pretty much nothing.
Matt Shaw played his first game the other day, had a couple of knocks, had 3 really nice plays. One, he came racing in, crossed his body, made the throw, got the guy at first. I was like, whoa, that looked pretty good.
How about your guy, Gage Workman?
Can he make the team is the question. He's a Rule 5 selection. Gage Workman has had a nice spring for him.
He really has, and carried himself well. He's getting a lot of props from the right people so far. The big thing so I think he's going to get an extended look. You got to expose him to waivers. If he doesn't make the club, he doesn't. He's gone. So he's like,
right, you have to give him back.
He's a guy without options. So he's going to get an extended look, largely because he's looked good so far. And the telltale in spring training when guys are trying to make teams is what they look like the last 2 weeks against big leaguers now, because that's when the camps are down to size. Guys are pitching deeper into games, and you're getting ready for the season. You're going to face big league pitching the rest of the way. We'll see what he looks like and how he carries himself when it's all big leaguers on the field. But so far, you got to like what you've seen.
So Gage Workman can play multiple infield and outfield positions. He is a very solid
lefty hitter.
player.
I like lefty hitters. He played Double-A last year, but he had a breakout year. I believe that was his best minor league season.
So why did the Tigers let him go?
It's roster numbers, and whatever they thought of him, either they had redundancy at whatever, what they consider him in their organization, or they just felt that other guys were more likely or more costly to lose.
So in 2024 at Double-A Erie, he had 18 homers, 89 knocked in, 30 stolen bases, and an 842 OPS in 126 games. And prior to last season, he was a switch hitter. And then he went, I'm going to only hit lefty. And
if you're going to hit one, that's the way to hit.
That's when it clicked for him. So we're going to see how things go. He's got plate discipline. And it's him or Vidal Brujan, the leading candidates for one infield spot, or Nicky Lopez, the former White Sox player. So one of those three is getting the gig. If Gage Workman is at all close, he's going to get it because you got to give him back.
Right. But one of them is it Nicky? One of them's out of options too. So it's the same.
Nicky is a non-roster invitee.
Yeah, so it must be the other guy that's out of options. But that's the same thing because you'll lose him too.
Correct.
But your catcher, in my eye, some people have been talking about him out there in Arizona too. I'll give you that. There's something to
He's
like,
coming along.
like coming out there. But man, I mean, whether you're the Reds, whether you're the Brewers, whether you're the Cubs, this is one hell of a tough league this year. You're going to have to win the division. There are no wild cards out of this Central this year, in my mind. I just don't see the path, and because you're just going to get beat to hell on those extended trips out west and those long trips into the Lions' Den in certain places out east. So, that doesn't mean it's baseball, right? These teams are still going to get wins, but it's the series, right? It's like, how many series can you stack up?
By the way, Matt Shaw, he is the number one prospect for the Cubs. The latest rankings in all of baseball, he's number 19. Let's go, Matt.
Okay, what did that do long term for Addison Russell or
Agreed.
Arizmendi Alcantara?
Starting Castro, who was a good major leaguer.
Actually, Starling Castro was a 200 hit guy.
Yeah.
And an all-star, 3 times, I think.
Good player.
Which is crazy.
Great.
Right? When you look back and you think that he was a disappointment, he was a 3-time all-star.
Right. And he probably thought, how the hell did I not end up on the World Series team?
Yeah, he missed it by that much. Yeah. I think he missed he was with the Yankees the one year they were retooled.
Right.
Because that was the 16 year.
Correct.
And so he goes over, he winds up the one year the Yankees aren't trying to win, he winds up with the Yankees and he misses the Cubs World Series they were by 1 year.
Right. He got traded so they could have the money freed up to sign Ben Zobrist.
Yeah. Crazy.
So, all right. When you come back, we'll do our podcast predicting everything for the season.
Oh, I'll tell you everything right now.
No, hold it. I don't want to. I'm calm. I'm in a
I don't want to ruin your
place.
day. Yeah, you're getting ready to go on a nice vacation. I won't spoil it.
All right. And anything breaks next week, I will.
But I got all the answers right here. It's all right here.
Want me to write your column for you?
Yeah. No, you stay away from me.
All right. We'll be back with you next week. Gordon will be in Arizona. We'll get you all the latest on the Cubs as they head to Tokyo. They'll play some exhibition games against some of the Japanese professional teams. And then it's the Cubs and Dodgers for 2 ball games before they come back to Arizona and then get ready to start the season.
Man,
Here we go.
it's a long, long road.
Folks, I'm in here fighting a good fight for you every day, battling this guy. That is a wrap for our Cubs REKAP Podcast, a presentation of our REKAP YouTube channel and available audio only everywhere you get your favorite podcast. For Gordon Wittenmeyer, I am your ray of sunshine. I am David Kaplan. Have a great rest of your night. Appreciate you greatly. Take that.